evening to you. Many thanks for joining us tonight on the broadcast. You're watching KUTV News at 9. Let's take a look at stories making headlines tonight. President Ruto delivers US goodies by signing of last-mile electricity connectivity contracts, a plan intended to facilitate the achievement of universal access to electricity by 2030. Principal Secretary Public Service Felix Koskei warns corrupt professionals at the National Housing Corporation, affirming government's commitment in fighting corruption. African head of states expected in Kenya to discuss the Africa Financial Economic Architecture championed by Africa Development Bank. And in sports, Police FC to face KCB in FKF Cup finals next month. This broadcast is also live on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya, and you can send us your feedback on X at KUTV_Kenya at Anyango Sylvia KE. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Samuel Kelo, and I'm Anyango Sylvia. We begin. Now, Principal Secretary Public Service Felix Koskei has warned officials involved in corruption and misuse of funds at the National Housing Corporation, that is NHC, stating that the government will take strict action against them. This was during the NHC 70th anniversary celebration held at the Bomas of Kenya earlier today. The National Housing Corporation (NHC) has officially launched its 5-year strategic plan intended to effectively implement the provision of affordable housing. According to the plan, the implementation of affordable housing across the country will cost 353.9 billion Kenyan shillings. The corporation will mobilize 316.7 billion shillings from external sources that will include collaboration, housing levy and strategic partnerships, 12.9 billion shillings bank borrowing, and a balance of 24.3 billion shillings will be sourced internally. In this regard, Principal Secretary Public Service Felix Koskei warned that the government is serious in fighting corruption on professionals as they partner with the National Housing Corporation in utilizing the housing funds to be used in construction of affordable houses.
We are dead serious about fighting corruption. And it's about time that all professionals should really step forward and be counted in fighting corruption. And it does not require much. You just stick to your code of conduct. Be faithful when you are generating your BQs, when you are designing structures. Be faithful to the cause when you are supervising the construction or the coming up of those structures.
The affordable housing project has in the past been faced by a number of setbacks, especially from the opposition, who claim that its implementation violates the constitution, leading to termination of the collection of the housing levy by the High Court.
Even the colonial government, as much as they were here as foreigners, but they had an idea of how to provide housing, number one, to begin with for themselves. And then later on they changed the law to include the whites and Asians. And then later on, of course, it has come up to where we are.
What we are talking about here in the strategic plan, with the support of Parliament and His Excellency the President, budget allocated, and of course we are part of the levy that Kenyans are giving us, then NHC will make bigger strides than it has made.
The National Housing Corporation intends to transform the existing national houses into modern structures while implementing the use of EPS technology in construction to bolster the project's efficiency, while at the same time reduce the cost and time used to complete the construction of the housing units across the country.
And we want to assure Kenyans that some of our estate is old. You are going to see a lot of reconfiguration urban renewal, uplifting of our estates, a bit of facelifting, and of course, some of the estates will bring them down so that we can build new structures which are actually more densified.
Nevertheless, counties are urged to allocate land to be used in the construction of affordable houses and avoid politicizing the housing agenda. As the National Housing Corporation celebrates the 70th anniversary and launches a new brand and financial year 2023-2027 strategic plan, the corporation has committed to effectively utilize the Affordable Housing Fund in finding solutions to the housing problem in the country. Anyango, Sylvia, KUTV. And the government of Kenya has secured 27 billion shillings to connect 280,000 households to electricity under the last mile connectivity project. Speaking while presiding over the signing of this project's contract in State House today, President William Ruto said the funds will strengthen the government's ambitious plan of achieving universal access to electricity by 2030. Listen in.
In a move to achieve universal access to electricity by 2030, President William Ruto has today presided over the signing of the last-mile electricity connectivity contracts in State House, Nairobi, highlighting the progress over the past decade.
We have moved from 2.3 million people connected in 2013 to now 9.6 million people connected in 2024.
While terming electricity as a key driver of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda designed to achieve economic inclusivity, President Ruto commended the program, saying it has expanded the electricity grid to undeserved areas. Additionally, the president said power lines erected under this program will transmit fiber optic cables to achieve universal internet access among Kenyans.
We are now going to leverage on the network that Kenya Power has of transmission lines across Kenya for us to deliver last mile connectivity to the internet. Because we are moving to the digital space. We are moving our government services to the digital space. We have ICT hubs that are coming up across Kenya. We are moving our business to e-commerce. We are moving our learning to e-learning. We are moving health to e-health. And therefore, the internet is going to be as important as the electricity we are delivering today.
Energy and Petroleum Cabinet Secretary David Chirchir urged contractors involved in the project to deliver high-quality work promptly and ensure that Kenyans get value for their money, terming the projects as lives-touching. Likewise, the program's impact on agriculture, education and healthcare was highlighted.
Today, we sit amongst the leading African countries at 75% access to power. Customers being connected without a payment, and yet we are able to recover all that cost.
The last mile electricity project has enabled business in rural areas to flourish, contributing significantly to our GDP and creating numerous job opportunities. It has also revolutionized our agricultural sector, powering irrigation systems and agro-processing units, thereby boosting productivity and ensuring food security. By connecting millions of households to power grid, we have not only illuminated homes, but also empowered communities, enhanced education opportunities, improved health services, and turned the entire country into one flourishing economic hub.
This move comes at a time when power interruptions are being experienced in most parts of the country. James Baraka, KUTV News.
School principals in Murang'a County have appealed to the government to reconsider the decision to eliminate the school feeding program from the 2024-2025 financial year budget. The school heads highlighted the program's crucial role in supporting learners, especially amid rising cost of living outcries by Kenyans, as reported by local educators and organizations.
School principals in Murang'a County expressed dismay over the government's decision to cut the school feeding program from the budget. Concerns arise about its impact on students. With increasing enrollment and support from organizations like Child Welfare Society of Kenya, the necessity of such programs becomes more apparent as the number of learners in over 60 secondary schools in Kiharo constituency, with over 12,000 learners, have benefited from the program. Margaret Wangoi, a principal at Kiawambeu Secondary School, stated that there has been an increment of learners in her school from a total of 25 to 86 learners, and even some coming from other counties to take part in the Masomo Bora program.
We are proud to eat very well. There's a lot of food stuff, for example, which has been delivered today. And because of this food and what our MP has done for us, you find that our population has now moved from 25 students. As I speak today, we have 82 students and still counting, because there are a number of students, about 5 of them whom we are waiting for, who have already requested for transfers, and they're in the process of being transferred to join this school.
Patrick Mwangi, a principal from St. Peter's Kiambirwa Secondary School, stated that the organization's intervention has helped in retaining learners at school, as parents don't have to feed children at home as they are fed at school.
Very much what the program has done. This has led to the increase in population. Like this year, we have been able to admit 60 students in Form 1. Previously, we had a total population in Form 1 and 2 of 40 students. So in my view, the program is working.
Boniface Kinywa, the program coordinator in Murang'a County, says that the feeding program has positive effect in terms of enrollment of students.
Currently, doing the distribution in 60 secondary schools, we want to say that from the facts that we have gathered, we are able to see that there is a positive index in terms of enrollment. The penetration is very high, whereby we have seen that the Form 1's intake this year, it has gone up in many schools. We want to see that the program has a positive impact to the society, or even in the
Alice Wanjohi, the deputy principal, Karimaine Secondary School, says that the feeding program should remain intact and the children that are benefiting from the program are day scholars.
The feeding program should remain intact and, if possible, in the whole country. It will encourage more enrollment. It will be supportive of the government initiative of 100% transition. This is because mostly the children who are affected are those in the day schools. And because the parents do not have the capability.
The government's decision to scrap off the feeding program will severely affect learners amid the harsh cost of living. Rahab Wanja, KUTV.
And in other news, youths in Migori County have undergone a 3-day training program equipping them with vital skills in social accountability, budget advocacy, and climate adaptation. The initiative, organized by the Emerging Leaders Foundation Africa, was aimed at empowering the youth to take a more active role in shaping their communities.
In Migori County, the Emerging Leaders Foundation Africa held a groundbreaking training initiative directed at shaping tomorrow's leaders. Over 3 intensive days, youth have been immersed in important topics like social accountability, gender-responsive budgeting, and climate adaptation. James Sakwa, the training convener, outlined that empowering the youth with these skills is essential for fostering a more inclusive and proactive community, noting that they are the future leaders, and this training prepares them to take on significant roles in societal development.
We bring our investment into the young people and ask that they take a central role and in fact a leading role in every process of devolution at the various counties, sub-counties, and even the wards and the communities that they live in. And that we do by empowering them, equipping them with the skills, the tips and tools that they need as individuals, youth advocates, and also as youth serving organizations that exist within the different communities, including Migori County.
One of the key issues discussed during the training was the vital role of youth in the budget-making process, where the participants learn how to engage effectively with local government to ensure that budget allocations reflect the needs and priorities to young people.
in the nation right now, we are having a lot of strategies to ensure that a lot of revenue is collected in terms of taxes, in terms of other measures. So it is also our responsibility to ensure that the taxes we pay are prudently managed and that the resources and the programs that are put in place are responsive to the needs of young people and the entire population of the young people, like they have mentioned, the female, the male, and all the populations that we have.
Critical issues of climate adaptation were also addressed. The youth learned strategies to mitigate the impact of climate change and how they can contribute to environmental sustainability.
As Tunaweza Migori, through ELF, we've had this training on social accountability, gender responsive budgeting, and climate mitigation. Having at the back of our minds, Nyatike, one of the sub-county in Migori, was adversely affected with the previous flood. So it is upon us young people to come together, have innovative, sustainable solutions towards ensuring that we respond to the climate change. But my colleagues have also mentioned issues of social accountability and gender responsive budgeting.
Highlighting the benefits of devolution to the youth, it was pointed out that by bringing governance closer to the people, devolution offers young people the opportunity to participate more directly in decision-making process and development initiatives.
And that story was produced by Victor and voiced by our very own Akida Kasim. And on that note, we take our very first break on the bulletin tonight. Don't go far, we'll be back with more stories.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
The folks are going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo pasi vuguvugu. Pepo pa ni idea.
Tazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Kaunti maarufu kwa kuzalisha maziwa na ukuzaji wa majani chai. Pia, serikali ya kaunti inawahimiza wakulima kukumbatia mitindo mingine ya kilimo kuzidisha mapato.
Kama kuna kikundi moja inafanya biashara ya kuuza kuku, hao pia tumewafadhili kuwafunza jinsi ya kuhandle zile kuku kwa sababu wanaleta kwa wingi.
Haya yote tunakuletea katika Boresha Kilimo, toleo la kaunti ya Bomet.
Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa.
From the hospital corridors, we bring you experts to discuss issues affecting your health, from diet to mental health. The familiar and the ignored are both put into perspective. We then dive into the environment and look at the effects of climate change and its solutions. Join me, Mutegi K. Martin, every Friday at 9 p.m. as we learn on how to better our health while taking care of our environment. Only on KUTV.
Welcome back. Remember to keep engaging with us on X, our social media platforms at KUTV_Kenya. Now, the African Development Bank Group's 2024 annual meetings, led by Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, is set to take place from today,
to May 31st at the Kenyatta International Conference Center in Nairobi. The meetings offer a pivotal platform for knowledge exchange among Africa's decision makers, bilateral and multilateral development agencies, NGOs, and the private sector. With a focus on Africa's transformation and reform of the global financial architecture as the theme, the meeting aims to accelerate Africa's structural transformation for enhanced socioeconomic growth. The events that will be featured during the meetings include a presidential dialogue on May 29th. And investment in maternal health care in Kirinyaga pays off as more mothers access skilled delivery in semi-arid area of South Ngariama in Mwea constituency. According to Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru, expectant mothers will be provided with transport that will ensure safe delivery. Brenda Nyongesa reports.
The residents of Ngariama South Mwea constituency in Kirinyaga County had a reason to smile after seeing the fruits of the establishment of the maternity wing. According to Governor Anne Waiguru, the maternity ward is a game changer for mothers, emphasizing the importance of providing accessible and affordable maternal and neonatal services as a way of preventing home births and reducing mortality rates.
We are going further to implement a program called M-Mama. And in the M-Mama program, we will be making sure that every woman who is ready to be given the blessing of a child will be provided for safe transportation to the nearest health facility so that they can be able to deliver safely.
Evelyn Kahare, the nurse in charge, noted a marked increase in patient numbers since the maternity wing was launched in comparison to the previous year. Kahare attributed this surge to heightened awareness of services offered by the facility.
Since October 2023, our Her Excellency Governor, Madam Anne Waiguru, came and inaugurated this facility to become a health center. She also equipped the facility with all the necessary items that are needed to make sure that our maternity is complete and functional.
Health promoter Phyllis Karioku had said provision of skilled care at birth is considered the single most important strategy in preventing neonatal morbidity and mortality, thus contributing to the achievement of sustainable development goals on health.
We have been working in the fields where we see the old mamas who actually are pregnant, who come for health clinic here, where they were very happy to see that this facility is good because they don't deliver at home, they deliver in this facility.
Health promoter Charles Waweru stated that the increased number of patients is associated to the increase in the great understanding of the services provided by the center.
Kuna mahali kulikuwa kuna mto mkubwa kukinyesha mvua. So maji yakiteremka wamama hawawezi kuwa wanapitia huko. So hii hospitali imetusaidia sana kuwa wamama wamekuja karibu na hospitali.
Community members have praised this ward for providing a critical role for the health of expectant mothers and reducing infant mortality in the area. Brenda Nekesa reporting for KUTV.
As opposition grows against a proposed nuclear power project implemented by the Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, that is NUPEA, in Uyombo, Kilifi County, leaders and activists have come out denouncing its potential risk to health and the environment. Cabinet Secretary, Gender, Culture and National Heritage Aisha Juma spearheaded the resistance, echoing concerns raised by local fishermen and environmental activists.
Watu wa Mataponi na watu wote wa Kilifi kupinga vikali mradi wa NUPEA kwa sababu namba 1 haujafuata sheria zinazotakikana. Namba 2 tunajua madhara yake. Kwa hivyo tutasimama kidete. Na nataka niwaambie wale viongozi ambao hawajaongea chochote kuhusu huo mradi. Tokelezeni, tusimame pamoja, tupige huo mradi kwa sababu baada ya miaka miwili ile hata itakuwa na wale.
hatujaupokea na wala hatutaupokea kwa sababu jinsi uliletwa kisiasa. Mwanzo sisi tunalaumu viongozi wetu, MP wetu, unasikia? Kwa sababu hii kitu wakati wa kampeni Mr. Owen Baya aligawanya mama zetu ambao ni wajane tanks na zilikuwa zimeandikwa Nupea, lakini hakutuambia kwamba ilikuwa ni.
The African National Congress has been governing South Africa since 1994, when Nelson Mandela was elected president following the end of apartheid. But as voters get ready to go to the polls on May 29, the party known for its opposition to apartheid faces dissatisfaction from some citizens.
On the streets of Johannesburg, posters of candidates are displayed all over the city. One voter tells VOA he wants continuation and will cast his ballot for the African National Congress. Another one says he's had enough and will vote for the Democratic Alliance.
30 years of democracy is probably 30 years of policy. We need another 30 years of implementing those policies and seeing them coming through to fruition.
Because they're all about change. Enough is enough. We've had enough of the empty promises.
Housing, water.
In a promo video, ANC leader Cyril Ramaphosa says they've made progress in meeting the basic needs of the people of South Africa.
We are putting South Africa to work by investing in our people to ensure that no one is left behind.
Daryl Glazer, associate professor at the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg, says it's going to be the closest election since the era of inclusive democracy began in South Africa in 1994.
All the opinion polls are suggesting that there's a very serious chance that the ANC is going to fall below 50% of the vote and that it's going to be forced into some kind of coalition.
Glazer and other analysts have told VOA that allegations of corruption, scandals, and disunity within the ANC have helped the opposition gain ground, including the Economic Freedom Fighters Party led by Julius Malema, a former ANC youth leader, and the newly formed Umkhonto weSizwe Party, which former President Jacob Zuma has been campaigning for.
Well, Jacob Zuma's party, Umkhonto weSizwe, or MK, has been a completely unexpected surprise. I mean, it arrived on the scene quite late in the run-up to the election and completely scrambled everything. The EFF certainly appeals to a certain audience, and it's been growing. In some ways, MK is as much a threat to the EFF as it is to the ANC, if not more so, because it's capturing some of the discontented.
9 days before the election, South Africa's top court ruled that Zuma was not eligible to run for parliament because of a past criminal conviction. The ruling came 2 days after Zuma told thousands of supporters at a rally in Soweto that his MK party would help ease joblessness, among other issues, if it won. South Africa's unemployment rate has reached 32%, according to the World Bank, making it issue number one for many of the voters.
I think our biggest challenge as a country is our rate of unemployment, which is one of the biggest in the world.
I'll be voting for Action SA, and I think that party has got what we have, what we want in the country. Like now, we got a problem with the crime and there's no work.
For me, it'll be poverty and unemployment. The lack of maintenance of infrastructure is another pressing issue.
Nearly half of the country's 62 million people have registered to vote, says Thabo Masemola, an independent electoral commission official, and he says they are prepared to manage the vote efficiently, as they've done historically.
The certified voters roll is currently sitting as 27.7 million. And we use the voters roll as the basis to prepare and plan for elections. So all the relevant election material in place.
He says the IEC has accredited 160 organizations, both domestic and international, to observe the election and ensure its transparency. Mariama Jalou, VOA News.
And former President Donald Trump faced sharp skepticism on his presidential bid when addressing libertarians on Saturday. President Joe Biden's weekend remarks focused on encouraging graduating cadets to be the guardians of American democracy. VOA's Balderas Iglesias has the details.
Unlike the supporting MAGA crowds he regularly encounters at his campaign rallies, Donald Trump faced several detractors at Saturday's Libertarian Party National Convention. Booing was heard when the Republican presidential candidate mentioned an article written by political commentator DeRoy Murdoch ahead of Trump's address.
DeRoy wrote, Donald J. Trump will address the Libertarian Party and its national convention on Saturday. The Libertarian Party should nominate Trump for President of the United States. Whoa. That's nice. That's nice. Only if you want to win.
Those attending did clap and cheer when Trump listed some of his priorities should voters approve of his return to the White House.
On education, we will cut federal funding for any school pushing Marxist and communist race and gender theories on our children. We will keep men out of women's sports. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate.
President Joe Biden, who is also bidding to get re-elected, addressed a different crowd on Saturday. Graduates of the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, New York.
There's never been a time in history when we've asked our military to do so many different things in so many different places around the world, all at the same time.
While stressing that American soldiers will be kept off the battlefield, Biden emphasized the U.S. support for Ukraine. Furthermore, he talked about the role of the U.S. military in defending Israel from recent Iranian drone attacks and the work being done to facilitate humanitarian assistance into Gaza. The graduating cadets were also encouraged to, quote, hold fast to the values they learned at West Point.
But ideas need defenders to make them real. That's what you, the class of 2024, are all about. Defenders of freedom, champions of liberty, guardians, and I mean this, guardians of American democracy.
As the U.S. commemorates Memorial Day on Monday, Biden is expected to participate in the services planned at Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia. The Trump campaign released a statement paying tribute to fallen service members and also announced the launching of the so-called Veterans and Military Families for Trump coalition, with 175 endorsements to Trump's 2024 presidential bid. This week will be a busy one for the former president's lawyers as they present their closing arguments Tuesday to a 12-member jury in Trump's hush money criminal trial in New York. Verónica Valderas Iglesias, VOA News, Washington.
In sports tonight, the Football Kenya Federation semi-final cup match between AFC Leopards and Police FC held at the Police Sacco Stadium was called off in the 60th minute on Sunday following crowd trouble. The second assistant referee Samuel Kuria was hit by a projectile after raising his flag for an offside, an incident that prompted him to retreat to the dressing room for treatment. However, the referees did not return to the pitch. Police were leading 1-0 at the point of abandonment, with Tito Okello having netted the opener in the 8th minute. The match resumed today on Monday at 11 a.m., where Police FC clinched a 1-0 victory. Police FC will now face KCB in the cup final to be held next month. And Charles Leclerc of Ferrari cruised to victory in the Monaco Grand Prix in Monaco yesterday despite early drama playing out at the start of the race. Leclerc enjoyed a mostly serene drive to position 1 in front of his home fans even after a huge collision between Red Bull's Sergio Perez and 2 Haas cars of Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg, putting all 3 out of the race. Oscar Piastri of McLaren, Carlos Sainz of Ferrari, Lando Norris of McLaren, and George Russell of Mercedes finished second, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, respectively. The next stop on 2024 F1 calendar will be Montreal, with the Canadian Grand Prix taking place on the weekend of June 7 to 9. Now that is it from us tonight. Thank you so much for keeping it KUTV this far and for keeping us company here on the broadcast. On behalf of the production team, once again, thank you. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Sami Okello and Anyango Sylvia. Have a good night.